So, what is it that this scene and this scene have in common? And why does every great movie need it? This is Volume 9 in Bad Movie Fights versus Good Movie Fights. In Volume 8, we learned that a good fight can be elevated with reaction shots. Michelle Yeoh. And that Steven Seagal runs kind of funny. Anything with actors who simply can't fight is a major no-no. Anything with Chuck Norris is awesome.
If you come back in here, I'm gonna hit you with so many rights, you're gonna beg for a left.
And remember, no gun fights allowed.
Shit! I've been shot! I don't fucking believe this. Could everyone stop getting shot?
So, let's do this. This fight is entirely different to the opening fights of the video. As is this. As is this. But this is completely the same. And so is this. And this. So what is it that ties these scenes together?
Let's finish this!
They are all end boss fights. But what is an end boss fight? Typically, it's a moment when our protagonist realizes after an initial defeat or a period of doubt that they can win. There's something almost orgasmic when it happens. It almost feels like we ourselves are powered up and pushed past adversity to our final glory. Most stories that feature a hero's journey feature this trope. One recent movie that absolutely nails the final boss fight is...
Who's that?
He's here for me.
Now, why have I picked this fight scene? Firstly, the animation and the fighting here is top notch. But secondly, what increases the dramatic tension of the fight is that we have seen our protagonist defeated and deconstructed by his nemesis, Wolf.
I just love the smell of fear.
An encounter which has removed our character's sense of purpose and made him fearful of life itself.
I've enjoyed the chase, Kato. But I think we've reached the end now, you and I. You gonna take the coward's way out? Run away to more lives? Or you gonna fight?
So when we have this moment,
What's the matter? Lives flashing before your eyes?
No, just one. I'm done running.
that orgasmic feeling I was speaking of kicks in.
Oh, yes, 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 yes. Oh.
What I love best about this fight is that we don't get a full conclusion to the fight.
Voy a jugar con mi comida. You're ruining this for me. I came here for an arrogant little legend who thought he was immortal.
Could he have beaten Wolf? It actually doesn't matter. It also doesn't demean or reduce the powerfulness of the antagonist, but instead we feel the true victory here was our protagonist gaining his strength back through the journey of the narrative, to the point where he's mentally strong enough to take on Wolf. That's the true victory.
You know we will meet again, right?
Sí, hasta la muerte.
The film that does something very similar is the 1976 Oscar-winning classic, Rocky. Part-time boxer Rocky has no right being in the same ring as Apollo Creed. Apollo got him in the ring as a last-minute replacement for another fighter, more for show than anything else.
Not a ranked contender. What this fighter's gonna need is a novelty. This is the land of opportunity, right? So Apollo Creed on January 1st gives a local underdog fighter an opportunity.
Rocky really stands zero chance. So when this happens,
Ain't gonna be no rematch. Ain't gonna be no rematch.
The long one. Here it's chaos. Rocky, you went the distance. You went the 15 rounds. How do you feel? All right, fella. What are you thinking about when that buzzer sounds for that one? What you think about when the 15...
Rocky! Rocky! Rocky!
We have a split decision. Adrian!
Rocky!
For free.
Adrian!
Adrian!
Rocky!
Hey, where's your hat?
I love you!
we are again filled with joy, an overarching sense of purpose. The true victory here is Rocky's perseverance and his ability to fight his own demons. A movie that gets this trope wrong but also gives us a fight which, whilst not completely bad, underwhelms slightly is.
You will not take it from me! Your anger and your lust for power have already done that.
Now, before I get hundreds of comments saying that this is not a hero's journey, in fact it's the inverse, a villain's journey, what these movies missed here is that Obi-Wan's journey could have indeed been framed as a hero's journey, whilst also showing Anakin's journey. Then this scene would have been more powerful. We would have had more dramatic tension. Instead, Obi-Wan's real journey was completed in Phantom Menace.
We'll try.
And it does make this fight way more impactful than it could have been. Not only that, the fighting here isn't great. I mean, again, it's not exactly bad, but come on. This could have been the second greatest ever fight in Star Wars history. Instead, we have this.
You underestimate my power!
And this.
Don't make me kill you. Anakin, my allegiance is to the Republic, to democracy!
And it might have made itself into the top 5 lightsaber fight scenes ever. But instead, it pales in comparison to this. And this.
It's over, Anakin! I have the high ground! You underestimate my power! Don't try it!
But at least it's better than this.
Your strength has returned.
Oh God, make it stop. Make it stop. Wait. Getting the end boss scene right is a tricky one. Essentially, to do it right, you have to hype up the antagonist so much that they seem unbeatable.
Settle for good and all! Who holds sway over the 5 points?
You should feel like there is no chance the protagonist can win.
Rise to this fine land! or the foreign hordes defiling it.
Breaking Bad is a strange example of the antagonist's backstory making him the protagonist. And having an on-screen journey so emotive that we now frame him as unbeatable, but we also empathize with him. So when Gus Fring avoids assassination by our true protagonist, we are slightly annoyed, but also totally believe that he would and could avoid it.
Why'd you stop? Why did you stop? Come on. Don't go.
Meaning that our protagonist, which feels awkward to say because after all it is Walter White,
Admit you're in danger.
Who are you talking to right now? Who is it you think you see? I am not in danger, Skylar. I am the danger. A guy opens his door and gets shot, and you think that of me? No. I am the one who knocks.
has to level up to beat Gus Fring. He does, and this happens. Even in defeat, our antagonist, who we've seen avoid, plot, craft, fight his way to the top, still seems like he's not beaten. Until. It could even be said that Jesse is a third protagonist and Walt is his antagonist, but that's a whole other rabbit hole. Of course, the fights in Breaking Bad were more about brain power than physicality, because sometimes your protagonist doesn't need to be physically strong. Back to the Future does something very similar, because yes, I guess in a roundabout way, Marty McFly is our protagonist.
Hey, McFly! What do you think you're doing?
Biff.
Hey, I'm talking to you, McFly, you Irish bug.
Oh, hey, Biff. Hey, guys. How are you doing?
But really, the true change happens in his dad, George,
Hello? Hello? Anybody?
who was always a pushover,
McFly thing. I gotta have to...
and still is.
Yeah, but you know, I figured since they weren't due till...
Hello? Hello? Anybody home?
Oh.
Think, McFly. Think.
Until he reaches a fork in the road moment and realizes that this is the moment he needs to be strong. Both narratives are the ultimate example of how to handle fight scenes with physically weaker characters than the stronger end bosses. But no one is physically as strong as this guy.
What you see is a body crafted to perfection. A pair of legs engineered to defy the laws of physics. And a mindset to master the most epic of splits.
Now, if you're like me, you probably spent your childhood scraping together all the coins you had just to play this game. My childhood was filled with hours of myself and my siblings saying, and over and over again. But for some reason, even as a small kid, this film never really appealed to me.
Let's go. I'm going to kick Bison's ass.
I wasn't excited for it at all. And maybe that's because the cast list was definitely C-list. Or maybe because the trailer looked like this. And Ryu, my favorite character, looked like this. I mean, what the absolute And my lack of enthusiasm was validated by this. This 1994 not classic did everything wrong. And this end boss scene is shockingly bad. The foam set, the cardboard backgrounds, Van Damme, a Belgian with a strong accent, playing a US Air Force sergeant.
Next, I'll make you a dead one.
And the fighting is absolutely woeful. Even Van Damme's kicks feel flat. Now, granted, the man was admittedly on cocaine during the making of this film.
Clean about cleaning up. Late last year, the man known as the Muscles from Brussels checked himself into a California substance abuse clinic to kick some bad habits.
When I was like on Bloodsport, my first movie, I was waiting for 10 years to make a film. I received my first job, Bloodsport. I wasn't able to sleep for the full shoot. And without knowing, I became addicted to sleeping pills.
Sleeping pills eventually became only part of the problem. Van Damme also owns up to using cocaine in the past.
But still. Additionally, if you know anything about the Street Fighter series, you'd ask why Guile is fighting M. Bison as the end boss scene. Well, easy answer, it's the two most well-known actors in the film fighting each other, which in terms of the Street Fighter narrative makes zero sense. But alas, we have this terrible fight.
This is merely superconductor electromagnetism. Surely you've heard of it. It levitates bullet trains from Tokyo to Osaka. It levitates my desk, where I ride the saddle of the world. And it levitates me.
That's the coolest fucking story I've ever heard in my entire life. That's insane. Can I hear it again? Do you have time?
M. Bison, to me, is one of the greatest end bosses ever. When I think video game end bosses, I think of M. Bison. Again, if you played the game as a kid, getting to M. Bison was almost like a game over for you. He was unbeatable. However, I must note that Raul Julia hamming it up as M. Bison is fantastic.
Time to pray to him. For I beheld.
A role he performed whilst extremely sick. And this was ultimately one of his last films. And we have another triple Van Damme kick. So it ain't all bad.
Don't panic. Pigtails. Look who's talking.
Strangely enough, in the same year, this
old piece of trash
film was accompanied by maybe the best version of Street Fighter in narrative form. The Street Fighter II animated movie, which features one of the best fights in the series. Chun-Li versus Vega. But I think we all know why people prefer this clip. I can never look at Chun-Li the same way again. However, its end boss scene is sensational. Look at the difference here. M. Bison is physically imposing. He's taken on two of the best characters at once and winning.
Even though you two amuse me, I must conclude this game. I have engagements to keep and I can't be late.
Until...
Let's finish this!
And as a little shout out, Street Fighter Assassin's Fist was a web and TV series cum movie that came out 20 years later in 2014 and is also fantastic. It stars this guy this scene in The Bourne Ultimatum, and the director of photography did this. Which won him an Oscar. If you get a chance to check out Street Fighter's Assassin Fist, a low-budget street fighting gem, do so. Which brings us back to this. The Raid is also a low-budget fighting gem, and arguably the best of the two Raid films. Its streamlined narrative works perfectly for the fight scenes. And this fight isn't technically a fight with an end boss per se, but it is a fight with the strongest antagonist and the last fight in the film. So really, it's basically the final boss. Now, I know you guys have missed my favorite word that I use in all the volumes, so here it is. This scene is brutal. The Raid is almost like a video game. Our protagonist has to make it all the way to the top of the building to defeat the bad guy. And once he gets there, he has to save his brother, of which he is fighting alongside in the scene. Our antagonist, Mad Dog, seems invincible. Every time they think they have him beat, he pulls out another trick. Filmmaking wise, director Gareth Evans absolutely knocks this out the park. He lets the actors do all the work as his camera just picks up their movements. No fancy edits, no fancy angles. He captures the beauty of the brutality. And the music, I think that you guys know that I focus on quite frequently in my videos, complements the scene perfectly. And even more so as the scene comes to a crescendo, as does the music. Superb fight choreography, brilliant direction, and an awesome end boss. This film made this guy an absolute legend of film fighting scenes. Speaking of the Raid and its narrative, doesn't it remind you of something? Now, of course, there are literally hundreds, if not thousands, of end boss scenes in cinema history. Maybe you love the end boss scene from the underrated film, simply called Boss Level.
What if the ability to rewrite history was real? What if I can erase our mistakes?
Or the Korean film, The Man from Nowhere. What end boss scenes are your favourites? Let me know in the comments. A massive thank you to all my new Patreons. You guys are incredible. If you'd like to become a Patreon for this channel, the link is in the description. You get all the videos in the series unedited without YouTube copyright jumping in, and you get to see every new episode before anyone else, as well as your name in the credits. As always, thank you guys for the suggestions and the comments. They are incredibly overwhelming, and I am reading them all, and I will try and get through each one of them over the series. However, as always, do suggest more films in the comments. As I said, I do read them, so I will feature the ones that I eventually pick out. Even if it's on an old volume that you just picked up on recently, comment on that as well, and I will read it. New volume coming next Sunday. Please like this video, subscribe, and hit the notification button to be notified when the next volume is out. This has been Bad Movie Fights versus Good Movie Fights, Volume 9.
How about that interview? For my network.
Sure. But only if you wear that dress.
You big old piece of trash!